I'm a member of that large fraternity, the Tired Businessmen of America. Lately, when I get home from work, the little woman has a chilled bottle of 7-Up waiting. Her subtle way of getting me to slow down.
Friday, September 28th. Chevrolet for 63, the jet smooth look of luxury. Exciting. 4 entirely different kinds of new cars: Corvette, Corvair, Chevy 2, and Chevrolet for 63. For a good close look and an exciting motoring experience, show at your Chevrolet dealers Friday, September 28th.
The peak of excitement. Find it here or here behind the wheel of the sweetest handling sports coupe on the road, the Cutlass. And this excitement means action. Action from an ultra-high compression aluminum V8 engine that delivers 185 horsepower, standard at no extra cost. Bucket seats up front, distinctive styling. That's the F85 Cutlass. For 62, try something extra. Drive the F85 Cutlass by Oldsmobile.
Colorado Springs. Colorado's second largest city, situated in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains. The city is known for its unpredictable but relatively mild weather and its many outdoor attractions. Natural and man-made sites draw thousands of visitors each year. These include Pikes Peak and the famous Garden of the Gods. The United States Olympic Training Center. The area around Colorado Springs is also home to 5 military bases, including the United States Air Force Academy. The many military bases in the area and the mild weather draws many people to settle in Colorado Springs from outside the state. The large number of transplants means that an important part of the city's history has been forgotten. The Alexander Film Company, the world's largest maker of commercial film advertisement clips, resided in Colorado Springs during the early and mid-20th century.
We'd heard a lot about the Alexander Film Company back home. We used their playlets in our theater and TV advertising, and it seemed like a good chance for a look behind the scenes. It sure is a big place. This is the entrance to the building where all business affairs are handled. So we joined up with a guided tour to see the whole plant. And were we lucky, they just happened to be filming a 7-Up playlet the day we were there. This is how the scene will look when it's shown on theater screens.
Situated on the 26-acre lot on the corner in Fillmore, Nevada, the company employed over 600 people. The company played an important role in the film and, coincidentally, aviation industries. During the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, nearly 3/4 of advertising clips placed before films in the United States were produced by the Alexander Film Company. During the 1950s, as television began to dominate American entertainment, the company made the transition to television advertising. The company was founded in 1919 in Spokane, Washington, by brothers Julian Don and Don Miller Alexander. The brothers, always referred to as J. Don and Don M., showed a unique set of skills that made them an overwhelming success during the Depression and into the 1950s. In 1923, with business booming and salespeople operating all over the nation, J. Don decided to move the company to a central location and decided on Englewood, Colorado. With many Alexander salespeople earning commissions in excess of $1,000 a month in the 1920s, J. Don hit upon the novel idea of selling airplanes to his sales staff to allow them to improve their efficiency. The aircraft that J. Don commissioned, the Alexander Eagle Rock, was a stable airframe popular during the 1920s. The aircraft was even endorsed by Charles Lindbergh just months before his transatlantic flight. It is also interesting to note that the Alexander Film Company employed women as part of its sales staff during the 1920s and 30s. In April of 1928, just months before a planned move to a new facility in Colorado Springs, tragedy struck. An explosion and fire at the Englewood plant killed 11 people. To avoid a costly shutdown, J-Don hired nearly every moving truck in 3 states to relocate the operation to Colorado Springs. The move began on a Monday, and using temporary buildings all over Colorado Springs, the full company was back in operation by Wednesday of the same week. Though the aircraft operation folded in 1932, the film, clip, and television business continued to excel. Despite the company's success, and the fact that many of the buildings that comprise the studio still stand, many people have forgotten that the business operated here in Colorado Springs. The owners of some of the buildings were gracious enough to allow our crew to film some of their properties. Here we see the former Alexander Service Building, where brothers Tim and Tom Black have tried to keep the Alexander legacy alive. The old production plant has been turned into a multi-use commercial building, but much of the original internal architecture and the original wood rafters of the building remain. The old studio building was taken over by a local television station and eventually by a custom countertop company. Inside the service building, that now houses a bar and grill, and thanks to the efforts of the Black brothers, we found many artifacts of the Alexander Film Company in excellent states of preservation. They included a film projector, film editing equipment, and shipping canisters. The old film storage vault, several photos from the aircraft and film companies, an excellent model of the studio grounds. The full production studio closed in the mid-1960s, about 10 years after J. Don's death. Don M., unwilling to serve as the front man as his brother had done for so many years, sold the business, but remained on the board. The business passed through the hands of a few investors before closing the production arm and becoming a simple film editing service. The film editing service finally closed in 2012. As one of the company's last acts as a production studio, they created an award-winning commercial that is still one of the most impressive commercials of the 20th century. Working in-house Alexander technicians created a special camera mount for the aerial shots in this amazing commercial.
In a class of its own, it stands alone. Chevrolet for 1964. No other automobile offers so much of what so many people desire. With styling that brings you back to look and look again, Chevrolet stands alone. Alone in pure dedication to beauty and relaxation. Alone in jet-smooth luxury. Here is space for freedom of movement, enclosed in a Fisher body carving, in motion, as quiet as space itself. In a class of its own, Chevrolet for 1964 stands alone. See your Chevrolet dealer.